Hey, how's it going everybody? This is Craig Peters here from Soundiron, and in today's Soundiron session I'm going to be showing you guys a track that I did in collaboration with vocalist Francesca Genco. Now Francesca Genco you'll probably be familiar with if you have our Voices of Gaia library or the Voice of Gaia Francesca. It really showcases a lot of the different variety and style that she has, and she has such an amazing and powerful voice, great for ethnic music or spiritual meditation type stuff. Like really, there's just a lot of really interesting and cool stuff with her and the style that she brings. So I thought this track would be perfect to collaborate with her on, and I actually used the Voices of Gaia library to sort of demo out and get the idea of what I wanted her to do. Sent her the track, and then she sent me all her vocal stems. I mixed them in, and they sound amazing. So I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use these libraries for that similar sort of thing. If let's say you're working on a score and you just want to use these to demo out to maybe later on have a real vocalist lay some real vocals on it. Well, not that I shouldn't say these aren't real vocals, but maybe something a little bit more specific to your track. And also, actually right now, if you get Voices of Gaia or Voice of Gaia Francesca, you can actually contact Francesca herself and get 60% off custom vocals. So if you're doing any sort of cinematic soundtracks or anything like that, definitely reach out to her. So if you purchase the library, you also get it on sale right now for 50% off too. So if you watch this video later on, the sale might be over. So if you're watching it now, definitely check it out. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the track and then we'll start breaking it down. All right, so that's the track, and this is actually a demo that I wrote for Tablas, or the Tablas upgrade that we came out with pretty recently. And as I was working on the track, I just started feeling this kind of really moody, drone-like, spiritual, mystical kind of vibe. I ended up naming the track Calling the Elders, so I kind of imagined this, big spiritual drum circle, or like where everyone's kind of playing and just playing different instruments and just this real kind of spiritualistic vibe. So who else perfect to put on this track than Francesca? All right, so getting started, we'll just kind of go, work our way down. So like I said, this was for Tablas, and the very first thing that I wanted to do was use some of the different loops that come with the library. And what I ended up doing, because all the loops aren't quantized, they're very just natural in their state. So what I did is I ended up rendering out one of the loops and just looping it. And I really liked the feel of this one. It had like a really nice groove to it, so I wanted to, keeping with that kind of drone-like aspect of just repetition and repetition to really just kind of reel you into the vibe. So this is just that loop by itself. So I thought that was a really cool loop, and then eventually, as things went on, I started thinking of other instruments to add. So I guess the next one that I thought would be cool, because Francesca has told me that she uses a lot of shruti boxes in some of her improvs with just a bunch of musicians, so I thought that would be cool to incorporate into this track as well. So we're using this shruti box that we had. This is from Little Pump Reeds, And I just wanted to have, just real simple, you can see in the MIDI, there's a, it's pretty much just kind of like a drone just kind of going in and out. So nothing really too crazy going on, but it actually starts off with this drone. So you can hear it just kind of drones, sets the mood a little bit. And then we bring in that drum loop. And then on this drone, I got some Valhalla Shimmer because it's just a great plugin for taking anything and giving it that real atmospheric vibe to it. And then we have this drone from Tablas, which is just playing a single note throughout. Let me go ahead and solo this for you. And this is just one of the ambiances that come with Tablas. You can hear it kind of wavers a little bit in pitch, which is cool. So we have that going with this this Shruti box too. Let's hear how that sounds. So just another layer. And you can hear the Shruti box is kind of going in and out of a half step with that higher note. So if you're playing something like like in C, and then you raise that fifth up a half step, really great for that tension and that sort of thing. We have this other tabla sound right here. This is one of the effects presets, so let's go ahead and listen to that. Real simple, just using one of the sounds, just for some extra layered percussion. And then we have the acoustic zaz, which is a really cool instrument for this sort of thing. And this is just such a cool instrument. It almost can sound like a hammered dulcimer, but it has this just almost like a Middle Eastern sound to it. So really cool, and definitely one of those instruments I knew I was gonna throw in this track. So let's just go ahead and hear how that sounds together. Also, if you hear these little flute phrases in the background, that's because this is from Little Wooden Flutes, which has a bunch of really cool flute phrases. So if you just, you're playing around, like I set it in this key of a C, G flute dry phrases, and then I also put some black hole reverb on it, so if you want to listen to it without it. But then you throw this black hole reverb on there. Now we're talking. I love to put some reverb on stuff, so if you've been watching this channel and some of the different Soundiron sessions, you'll know that it's one of my things that I like to do. But it's so cool because this whole track, it has just a really atmospheric vibe, so you kind of have to roll with it. So let's go ahead and listen to this. So I have the original vocals muted now, but now I'm going to go ahead and show you what I used as a basis to send to Francesca to let her do her own thing. And you can see she sent me a ton of vocals. This is all 3 tracks of just going back and forth, a lot of really cool call and response type stuff. And pretty much here's a bunch of vocals, use them as you will. I ended up just leaving everything because I really thought it sounded cool, and I just had 1 pan center and then 1 hard pan left and right. And I just thought it was really cool. It almost gave this very you know, call, like I said, call and response, back and forth sort of thing, like there's multiple singers in the room. So we did that. So let's go ahead and listen to what I used from Voices of Gaia. This is the Francesca NKI. So I used the whispers, and I also used the 100 BPM dark phrases. So if you want to hear a little bit of how that sounds. And this is all in C minor, which is the key that I wrote the track in. So cool, such a powerful sound. I love, anytime I do any sort of ethnic inspired tracks, somehow I always end up using Francesca in it. Just never fails. So let's go ahead and listen to what we've just been listening to so far, but now adding the vocals that I used from Voices of Gaia Francesca. And then that little whoo in the background, that is from our Olympus Elements. I wanted to incorporate some kind of men shouting, like if there was just like this real big, you know, manly emphasis on where it ends, then it kind of breaks, goes into this little steel tone part, which is right here. So let's go ahead and click to that. This is from our steel tones library. And just doing a little. Also with a bunch of effects on it, so I think we also are using, oh, I got this reverse delay on here. This sounds pretty cool. Let me go ahead and mute the reverb so you can. And then add some reverb on it. Really nice and ambient. Dry it sounds like this. But I prefer the effects on it. For this track anyway. So now let's go ahead and we'll mute the Francesca vocals that I used originally in the demo, and now we'll go ahead and I'll show you the vocals that Francesca sent me. So she did just a really great job of just sending me a bunch of really cool vocals. So let's just go ahead and listen to the vocals by themselves. So if you want to hear some of these individual, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, I could have used probably just one of any of these and it would have sounded really cool. But since she offered so much different stuff and a lot of it kind of played off of each other, I was just like, let's roll with it. We'll just use all of it. You know, and with this too, it was a one take thing. Just let it record and she just improv. So it just goes to show the level that she is, that she can just kind of like feel this stuff and knock it out. So was really cool. It was really awesome to hear her kind of sing on my stuff too. I was like, you know, I've used her library so much, so it was really awesome to collaborate with her on this track. So yeah, for any of you that are maybe interested in getting some of her custom vocals, definitely, if you don't own the library, one, you'll be able to own the actual library, use it on any of your tracks, and then you can also, if you purchase the library now, you can contact her for some really big discounts on any custom vocals, so you can actually have her sing anything specific that you want on your track, which is really cool. So let's listen to this next one. Let's go ahead and add a second one. So I thought that was really cool that she did these sort of kind of whispery things, because if you listen on this track, so I like that she used a lot of the influence that I put into the track, and then but put her own little spin on it. So if you take that out and then listen to this. Cool. It's like this really kind of, I don't know what kind of language it is, but it definitely sounds very cool and definitely sounds very, you know, kind of mystical and spiritual. So I was really digging that. And then in context, let's go ahead and skip up a little bit. So let's just go ahead now. We'll skip to the last part of the track where the steel tones come in, and then finish it up. And as far as the vocals go, some of the processing that I have some Pro C, just, you know, using this preset called Total Control BM, just, you know, controlling the vocals a little bit, keeping anything from spiking or going crazy, and then just a little bit of EQ filtering, a little bit of boosting up top. So without this, let's go ahead and listen to this track. And then on the vocal stem, I actually have Black Hole as well. So let's listen to this dry. So by itself, and then let's go ahead and turn on the processing. You can see I got a little bit of EQ going on, where it's just sort of kind of acting as a multi-band, but just controlling it when the frequencies go a little bit too far. And then Black Hole on it. Just for, you know, keeping it with it, because that's what I used in the original demo. So on here I went a little bit easier on the reverb as well, kind of dialed the mix back a little bit. Yeah, and then I guess we can talk about some of the mastering as well. Very, very common to what you've seen before. Just a little bit of a high pass, a little bit of a bump around 95, and then a high shelf. Sort of just doing a little bit of like a top-down approach, and then a little bit of the SSLG comp, which is what you've seen on here numerous times. Same basic settings. I usually tend to put the attack around 30, the release around auto or 1, and then I'll just dial the threshold, you know, anywhere in between 0 and 4, where you see right here. And then a little bit of L3. This is kind of the limiter I've been using a little bit recently. It's either this or I'll use the FGX from Slate, but yeah, this, you know, has been working out. Really simple mastering chain, more just for kind of cleaning up and generally prepping it for sort of a mix-ready kind of sound. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so that about wraps it up for the Soundiron session. And if you want to save 50% off Voices of Gaia or Voice of Gaia Francesca, you have until the 28th of this month to save and also get a free copy of Francesca's album, and also 60% off custom vocals from Francesca herself. So you get to collaborate with a really amazing musician and also, you know, add some really custom vocals to your work. And just, you know, collaboration right now is definitely something that we need. And, you know, especially in the time we're in, I think any sort of collaboration that we can do with each other is great. So this was a really fun track to write, and like I said, if you want to learn any more about Voices of Gaia the Compendium or Voice of Gaia Francesca, head over to soundiron.com. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.